Yo, what up, y'all? Ranger, aka Black Ranger, coming at y'all with another video for today. And we have a lot going on. So many updates, so many things to go over. But the biggest and the main event that we have currently right now is Carbine, our new hunter, the deadly gunslinger, right? So I've been excited for this character ever since they've teased him, and they did not disappoint. Everything that I've seen so far about this character seems so freaking cool and amazing. They gave us a reveal trailer, so the update doesn't actually drop until tomorrow, April 29th. So I can't wait to try him out. With that being said, we're pretty much gonna watch this. Then we're gonna go into his kit, and then after that, we'll hop into the patch notes. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop right on into this trailer. Bro, this his voiceover sounds so freaking cool. And that looks so overpowered, like insta kill. That's so cool how they do those edits. I mean, oh my goodness. Yo, we gotta run that back one more time. One more time. I mean, bro, talk about swag, man. Bow. Caged. Run into cage. Bang him up. That's just so sick. I'm sorry. Disgusting. Disgusting. Bruh. There we have it. There we have it, man. Carbine trailer. We had to watch it twice. I'm sorry for y'all that didn't want to watch it twice. But for those of us that's hyped, bro, we had to watch it twice, if not more. With that being said, what we're gonna do now, they dropped a short pretty much going over his abilities. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and take us to that so we can talk about his kit and then we'll move on to the patch notes. Okay, so now we're going to watch where they go over his kit a little bit, so that way we can have a better understanding of what we just saw in the trailer. So yeah, let's get into it.
Our next hunter is dropping into Supervive, introducing Carbine, a fearsome robotic bounty hunter custom built for combat who, one way or
This
another,
character's just
always
so
gets his target.
cool. Like,
I always finish the job.
Carbine wields an XT3 heavy blaster as his primary weapon, firing off 3 shots before quickly reloaded with his first
so
shot
cold.
dealing more damage at long range. Carbine's right mouse button move is Percussive Burst. After a short delay, fire off a shot knocking back enemies in a cone, dealing damage and stunning on terrain impacts. Carbine's shift ability thrusters boosts him in a direction, empowering your next left mouse button shot to slow.
And he has a
whoever
double
strikes.
dash on
Separately,
top of
you can
that.
use the shift ability again in the air, activating his jetpack, hovering in a direction and also empowering your next shot. Carbine's passive Enmity Core allows him to partially refund the cooldown of his shift ability when landing shots with his left mouse button. His shock trap drone is fired out upon casting his Q. When pressed, he sends out a scanning drone granting vision and can be re-triggered to explode the drone, slowing enemies and creating a trap that stuns upon collision. Finally, for Carbine's ultimate ability, he overcharges his weapon with overkill rounds, gaining 2 long-range shots that deal high damage, piercing enemies, destructibles, and wisps. Additionally, if Carbine knocks an enemy or destroys a wisp with his shots, he's refunded a round.
So I'm just gonna pause that right here because it's gonna jump into the next video. But this character, I mean, he just seems really, really strong. He seems like a very rundown type of character, which I'm not mad at. I mean, literally, you get 3 shots that seem to do really good damage, especially the first one doing bonus damage. On top of that, you get 2 dashes, very similar to Kingpin and Aluna, which I think is amazing. if you notice his dash, if you go into a wall or any terrain, he actually goes over it. So that's pretty insane for, again, running down characters and also escaping. His knockback, of course, is always great because if anybody jumps on you, then at that point you can either knock them back, just protecting yourself. I mean, great defensive ability, especially with these melee characters. And then on top of that, you have his ultimate, which almost you might as well say it's like a sniper to a certain degree. Where I mean, y'all saw it for yourself, and you get an extra bullet every time you destroy a wisp or get a knock. That is very, very strong. Very, 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 very strong. And I think it penetrates walls such as for example, Celeste walls, things like that. So very, 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 very strong. So next, what we're gonna do is hop into these patch notes, see what else has changed. I can tell y'all I have pre-read some of these patch notes, and man, um, it's crazy. Some of this stuff, some of these things we have waited on for a very long time. But let's go ahead and hop on into it. Boom. All right, here we are. Patch notes. Carbine, Arise, Void, and Joel buff, and more. The Deadly Gunslinger joins the breach. A host of balance updates and changes to rank group restrictions. This patch will not be live until April 29th, 2025. I'm just going to state my time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So, welcome, Supervivors. As mentioned in our recent fireside chat, we're super excited for our 1.0 patch, well, launch patch, whatever, which we'll be releasing later this summer. In the meantime, we'll be slowing down on some of our content releases so we can go heads down and focus on that moment. But we're excited to be shipping another new hunter, Carbine, in this patch. Besides Carbine, we have a healthy set of balance changes along with adjustments to our rank queue restrictions. Let's get into it. Yes, let's do it. So we already watched the trailer. No need for us to do that again. Just for some of y'all that don't know, in the last fireside chat, they did mention that pretty much we're just gonna jump to point 1.0. So pretty much the way she explained it is that because it's so much that they need to drop at one time in order for the, I guess, patches to make sense, they're not able to drop them in fragments anymore. So everything is just going to be one big patch, which is going to be rather interesting because we're going from, what was it? I already forgot what number this is. Is this point 29? I think this is point 29. I could be wrong, but I think it's point 29 or 28. But yeah, I mean, clearly that's a big jump, but that's plenty enough time. Like I said, that's the summertime, so that's at least 2.5 to 3 months from now. So yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into these notes. We'll kind of go over Carbine, even though we just watched the trailer and watched the breakdown of his abilities. So Carbine is a new fighter addition to the roster. A new hunter, Carbine, the Deadly Gunslinger. Enmity Core passive hits on enemy hunters with the XT3 Heavy Blaster, which is your left mouse button. Shots partially refund the cooldown of thrusters, which is your shift, aka your dash. Knocks and kills refund one charge of overkill rounds, which is your ultimate while the ability is active. XT3 Heavy Blaster, left mouse button, fires a blaster projectile dealing 43 damage, and it holds up to 3 charges. Okay. Percussive burst, which is your right mouse button after 0.5 seconds warm up, knock back enemies in the cone, dealing 64 damage and stunning on terrain impacts. Then we have the shock trap drone, which is your Q, launching a scanning drone that gives vision of enemies, re-trigger to explode the drone, slowing enemies and creating a trap that can stun enemies. Overkill rounds, which is your ultimate. Overcharge of XT3 Heavy Blaster, getting 2 long range shots that deal 170 and pierce enemies, destructibles, and wisp. Refund an additional shot on knocking an enemy or destroying a wisp. So with that being said, I believe it can go through Celeste walls because it says destructible. Destructibles in general. So I mean anything, honestly, again, that's destructible. Sounds like it'll go through trees as well. Yeah, man, that's very, 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 very strong ability. So here you have the hunter missions. You guys can pause and go through that if you want to see what that is. But this is where I feel we really get into the bulk of it, right? So we have the balance, or the almighty balance. So here we have Oath, right? Experienced players may know about pod racing. Pod racing, I've faced you a couple of times, right? I don't know if this is just a term for what is going on or they are referring to you, but for those that played the game long enough, y'all know who pod racing is, right? So anyway, Oath mains use their left mouse button and dash to catch up to most high-speed targets, including the train. While funny, high mobility probably doesn't match this paladin-powered fantasy or match what you expect when you run into an Oath in the wild. So pretty much what they did was the left mouse button dash dramatically reduced while in air. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to be now when it comes to Oath characters, because let's just be real, y'all. We knew Oath shouldn't be moving like that. Like, come on. Yeah, we know that. Anyway, Void. Now I'm very happy about this because I just started using Void sometime last week, getting the hang of that character, and something told me they were going to buff him soon. So with that being said, Void's greatest strength has been his ability to lock enemies and control space. In a meta where we see most divers, we think he could benefit from a little more help, both chasing and peeling enemies off, so we bump his left mouse button and shift outputs. So Gravity Orb, which is his left mouse button, basically the auto attack, pretty much when it's empowered, on hit slow increase from 6.2% to 10%. That is very strong. Charged base damage does it went from 265 to 280, and then it has a ratio of 0.268 going to 0.28. Very strong. And then we have the shift ability. Oh my gosh. Cooldown decrease from 10, 8.5, 7 and 7 from 9. Yeah, for going to 9, 7.5, and 6 and 6. This is gonna be crazy for y'all Void players, including myself. You know, I'm not saying that I main Void or anything like that, but he's gonna be a lot more fun to play for sure. You know, 100%. I mean, that shift cooldown, they're gonna be so much harder to catch and so much trickier to play around with just that cooldown alone. And with that slow decrease, I mean, that within itself is also very powerful. So I'm glad Void got some love in this patch for sure, especially since it's gonna be a while before we get another one. So now we have Brawl. Let's get into it. Brawl continues to disproportionately benefit from trios even after adjustments to mana and knock resets. We think it's appropriate to bring down some of his mobility and uptime on his ultimate. On the flip side, we still want successful Brawl mains to feel rewarded, which is why we're putting dash haste back on his passive. Okay, so I don't know what his passive was before because I never played Brawl really. But Blazing Spirit passive now grants 12% dash haste. Flame Step with this hit, which is his dash, cooldown increased from 11, 9, 7, and 6 to 13, 11, 9, and 8. I'm not mad about it. Brawl mains, y'all get no sympathy from me. Same way as Jin, because bruh, y'all just destroy lobbies half the time, man, and it's just too crazy. When you see a Brawl or a Jin, especially a Brawl, it's dang near game over. Especially like I said, they know what they're doing. But anyway, enough crying about that. We have Volcanic Rebuke, which is his ultimate. Cooldown increased from 35, 25, and 25 to 40, 35, and 30. Base damage decreased from 160, 160, 190 to 130, 160, and 190. So that's not really bad. He's just not as strong as he was early based on these decreases right here. So that's not that bad. Yeah. It's not that bad. Anyway, damage ratio decreased from 0.7, 0.9, and 0.9 to 0.7, 0.8 to 0.9. So, again, not really that bad. I think the biggest thing really here is the cooldown decrease. Cooldown increase, I guess you would say. So, at least he's not, dashing as much as he was before, so I'll take it. And here we have Jin. We want to preserve most of Jin's strengths as an assassin, but his raw mobility is probably still too much. Yes. As a result, we're adjusting his dashes and asking him to trade more of his durability instead. So health changes. Base health decreased from 980 to 880. Jin mains, y'all get none of my sympathy. Health per level decreased from 59 to 45, and max level health decreased from 1862 to 1555. Dodge roll, which is his shift ability, which is his dash, mini dash cooldown increased from 6, 5.5, 5, and 4.5 to 7, 6.5, 6, and 5.5. And then the EX dash cooldown increased from 11, 10, 9, and 8 to 12.5, 11.5, 10.5 to 9.5. So these are some pretty serious nerfs on Jin, honestly. But again, I also feel like these are well needed because of how the character plays. I feel like these are very well needed. So it really increases that high risk, high reward. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. Where if you're Jin and you go in, you best be on your stuff, because now if you mess up, you're gonna get blown up. You're gonna get blown up. I don't know if this is too much of a nerf, but when you consider, Omnivamp and stuff like that, maybe it won't be as bad. But again, I'm not a Jin player, so who knows, right? Here we have Bebo. So in patch 0.26, we made a change to Bebo that make his bat more reliable knockback. Wait, what? We made a change to Bebo to make his bat more reliably knock his bomb towards enemies. Yeah, I read that wrong the first time. Which led to an increase in Bebo's power, while hitting his damage on the bomb while maintaining the increased reliability and speed. So the beat bomb, or however you say it, his Q, damage lowered by 20% from 206, 269, 350, and 350 to 165, 215, 280, and 280. If that's what I think it is, that big bomb that they knock at people and blow people up, that's probably what that is, right? Yeah, that thing was always very strong. I mean, it's been times I got killed by that so fast or early in the game. I'm just like, why is this character so strong? So I'm glad that they nerfed that personally. AP ratio lowered by 20% from 1.23, 1.44, 2.44, and 2.44 down to 0.98, 1.15, 1.95, and 1.95. So I'm not mad at that. Because, yeah, most of us know, like, when you went against a good Bebo player, just because he had great damage, that he would just one-shot people. There's really no other way to put it. He would just literally one-shot people. So, all right, so we have Joel. And I've recently started playing Joel again, so let me see what they're doing with her, right? So Joel's been struggling since the changes to her dash. Larger options are currently being explored, but in the meantime, it felt appropriate to make her ultimate feel good to use again. We didn't like the output of the extended hover and option select, but we do want Joel mains to feel like lightning, especially if they can call their shot. So that is another thing that they mentioned in the fireside chat. Actually, no, it was not the fireside chat. I was watching, what is his name? Sorry, man, if I get your name wrong, but I know his name is Tom Kick. I think that's what it is. I know it's Tom, but I think it's Tom Kick. But anyway, he had Jess on one of his videos, and she talked about how they're actually going to rework Joel. So that's going to be pretty interesting. But as of right now, we have her ultimate, which is Thunderstorm. Hover duration decreased from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds. And the warm-up / cast time speed is sped up from 0.5 seconds to 0.25 seconds, which I think is really needed. Because even as I was playing her, I was like, man, it's like this wind-up is kind of taking a while. Like, even though it's less than a second, you can still tell, like, man, this feels like this should be faster. So I'm glad that they did, buff that. And we have Zeph. Don't play Zeph, but let's see what they did to my guy here. So we want more reliability and survivability for Zeph in the Trios world. These changes are targeted at improving Zeph's self-sufficiency in terms of healing, mobility, and peel. So Mending Breeze, which is his right mouse button, self-healing increased from 50 to 75%. That's a good buff, right? Cyclone Dash, which is his chef, cooldown decreased from 12, 10.5, 9, and 9 to 10.5, 9, 7.5, and 7.5. If I'm correct, that's where he like charges up the tornado, right, and sends the whole team dashing. I think that is a very great buff. A very great buff. Yo, y'all Zeph mains, y'all are eating right now. Second Wind, which is his ultimate, y'all rotation rate increase from 135 to 180, so that's 33%. y'all Zeph mains, you guys are eating that too. These really seem like great builds for him because I already think the character is pretty strong, in my personal opinion, when I see people play him. So the fact that y'all are getting these buffs, I mean, wow. Kudos to y'all. So Ceros, right mouse button is Ceros bread and butter, and post trios, post mana changes, world. Wait, what? I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe I'm just reading wrong today. Right mouse button is Ceros's bread and butter, and a post trios, post mana changes world. We felt it was appropriate to give him some more breathing room. So his charge Sunfire, which is right mouse button click, mana cost decreased from 100 to 75, mana refunded on hit from 100 to 75. We'll take it. Cause I play Ceros a lot sometimes, or I played him a lot in the previous arc. I guess that's what we're gonna call it when he first came out. So you know, anytime this character gets some love, I definitely appreciate it. I know y'all Ceros mains, y'all appreciate this as well. So here we have Myth. We would like the outputs of Rain of Arrows. We like the outputs of Rain of Arrows, but it probably shouldn't be the single best zoning ability in the game given Myth's other outputs. We're bringing the damage down to account for it. So Rain of Arrows, which is her Q, flat damage decreased from 47, 61, 80 down to 32, 42, and 55. Ooh. I'm not mad at it though, because we all know that Rain of Arrows is pretty strong. It is pretty not even pretty strong. It's very strong. Very strong. The damage ratio is going from 0.21, 0.27, and 0.36 down to 0.2, 0.25, and 0.3. This was going to happen eventually. I'm not even too surprised with that. It was going to happen eventually. So yeah, I think she's still going to be a good character overall just because of her zoning abilities. She's just overall a good character, right? Vision, so that vision buff where they pretty much made it 500 units, they're bringing that back down to 200. As mentioned in Tom's video, pretty much they addressed this to say it was literally due to performance issues, right? So I don't think I was personally affected by this performance wise, but I guess some other players were. So this may be something they revisit in the future, but as of right now, just to keep the performance across the board, better for everybody. That's why they reverted it, from my understanding. So here we have rank. So ultimately, with this, just to keep it short, they just want to allow people to be able to play with their friends more. So diamonds cannot play with silvers, and masters cannot play with gold. And I think that's always a great thing. Here we have some bug fixes. The only thing that I will point out that I personally think was a big thing was the Ceros laser is now visible to enemies. And then of course, I didn't even know this was a thing with the Eva. Fixed the issue where orbs would receive damage multiple times from certain hunters. I did not know that was happening. Let's see. And the rest of these, like I said, y'all can kind of read. Quality of life changes. This right here, I think I like the most. Duplicate hunters in lobby. You can now pick the same hunter as a party member while in the lobby. So the reason why I like this is because let's just say you want to read up on a character or something. I had that issue before where, let's say somebody was on Hudson, right? And I want to read about Hudson. Well, because he's already pre-selected Hudson, I can't click on Hudson and read anything about him, right? So that was something that I did not like. Now, I'm pretty sure that was what the issue was for me, but I could be wrong. But anyway, they have push to talk. So push to talk, team and party are not unique inputs to avoid unintentional double binding and your squad hearing the vacuum or your dog, whoever's having that issue. Ceros Nova Orb Q explosion now damages destructible trees, walls, and etc. To me, that's actually a buff to the character. I don't know why they have it in quality of life. I feel like that should have went up in the buff section personally. And then we have maps. So Abyss, Dying to Abyss now has its own kill feed call out, which I think is great. And then the geyser sound effects now louder, so they're more noticeable on activation, which I think is great as well. Anything that's gonna help us out there. So as you can see, I already liked it. But yeah, there we go. We have the patch notes. And At any point, if y'all want to, you know, pause and read something for yourself, definitely do so. Sorry if I started butchering some of what I was saying a little bit. Again, it's 12 a.m. It's super late. I've worked all day, so y'all bear with me. But I wanted to get this video out to you guys. I appreciate anybody that stays, anybody that subscribes, like the video. You know, I appreciate for sure. If y'all catch me out there in the Skylands, you know, holla at your boy. Let me know y'all seen my videos, right? But with that being said, y'all, I appreciate all the love and support. And until the next video, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.